Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba. Today I'm going to show you how to create your own castellated beams, and we'll move further to show you how to generate elevations from grid lines, and we'll go straight away and get started here from the model you're seeing right here on the screen. This is a storage building with the two staircases for accessing the mezzanine floor. Now I'll go straight and get started in showing you how to create a castellated beam the way I did it here. I'll just bring this closer. The way I did all these is these are customized castellated beams. I created them myself. Now I want just to show you how to do that, and once we're done with that, I'll show you how to create elevations from grid lines. Let's say grid line C or B or E. Now let's first of all start with creating the castellated beam. Now we'll do it from this member. To do that, I'll first of all get a midpoint of this. I'll come to edit right there, and I'll go to points, then I'll click on that drop down arrow and pick the first option, online. Then I'll hover my cursor on top of this beam just to detect the midpoint. And as for now, when I hover, I'm not seeing any detection of a midpoint because this has been disabled. So I have to enable it. And remember, this should be on anytime you're doing or you're modeling any structure in Tekla Structure. Now once I've enabled that, so the moment I hover my cursor on top of this beam, you'll be able to see an indication of midpoint of this beam. So the midpoint here just to guide us on placing or making a cutout for the castellated beam, just to cut that part to make this member a castellated beam, just to customize this to a castellated beam. Now I'll snap here. Let me just bring it closer. I'll snap right here and go all the way to the other end. Let me just zoom that and snap on this end. It is right angled. You see, you can see that symbol. It is straight, and then I'll snap on that spot. So the moment I do that, you'll be able to see that this has located itself right in the middle of this beam. Now I want to put some two guiding points. I'll come to any position and just snap on the same spot, and snap on this end, and also snap on that end. Perfect. I'll right click just to exit from that points command. I'll click OK to exit from that point. Now I want to create a member here to cut this beam for to cut this beam in order to convert it to a castellated beam. Now I'll come to steel here. I'll come to steel beam here. I'll click on that drop down arrow and pick on beam. Then I'll bring it closer so that I snap on the exact point. I'll snap on that spot, then I'll run all the way to the other end and snap right there. I've created a member here. This is a member I've created from this spot to that spot. Now I want to change this member to another member that will help us in creating a castellated beam, or to cut this beam, just to cut down the weight of the whole beam. Now I'll come to select under profile, then go this catalog, then this steel catalog will come up. Then from here we'll be able to pick on the right steel member that will be assisting us in creating those holes on the beam. Now I'll come down here, I'll minimize this, I'll minimize that. I'll scroll down to the bottom of this catalog and come to variable profiles, not variable profiles. I'll come to irregular profiles. This is where I will get the right member. Now I'll click on that plus sign, then I'll come to hexagonal. I will not be able to find it here. I'll come back to variable profiles here. From here I'll be able to get it. I'll pick on hexagonal. I'll pick on that. Then from here you can see it has how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to change the height. Come here and change the height of this member. I want to give it 250 or 300 can be okay. You just leave it at 250. Then I'll come here and click apply and give it an okay. Then come here and do the same thing. Click modify and apply and give it an okay. We've changed this member, but it's way off the center of this beam. Now we want to transfer the center of this member to the center of this beam. To do that, it's quite simple. Just deselect this selection, then come to edit. Click on this drop down arrow under points. On points under edit, then click on drop down arrow, pick on that. Then we want to locate a midpoint of this beam on this side. I'll click on that spot, then run all the way to the bottom end here and snap right there. Make sure your line is very straight. That will be straight when this is enabled. Right click just to exit from that command. Now this is the midpoint of this beam on this end. Now we want to make the center point of this hexagon. Now I'll come to okay here just to exit from this points command. I'll click OK, then I'll come to points again. I want to place the center of this member. I'll put that center there. Now that is the center of that. Now I want to move the center to this center. Now to do that, just select that member and don't bother about selecting the point, because the point will just refresh and all the points will disappear, because after that, after transferring the centers to another center, it will now be useless for us. Now I'll right click and come to move, then I'll pick on this center and move that center here. There we are. Now we can right click and come to redraw just to clear those points, because we are done to clear those points because we are done with them. Now from here we want to cut this member, this beam, using this member. We want to cut this beam using this member. A reason being, we want this shape of a cut. Now I'll come to edit. Under edit I'll pick part cut. I want to cut this member by part using this part. Now I'll pick on part cut. Then on the bottom here you'll see the program is, or the software is asking you select the part to be cut. I want to cut this part. Then you pick on the member, or you pick on the cutting member, the member cutting the other, then pick on this. Then right click to exit from that command. It has been cut. To confirm that, just come right here, right click and delete it. It has been cut. Now we want to populate this along this beam. We want to populate this along this beam, but distributing this cut along this beam is dependent on the length from this point to this point. We used 250. Now we want to slightly exceed that by 300. We want to exceed that by 50 millimeter. Now I want to populate this along this beam. I'll pick on it, and prior to doing that, make sure your XYZ axis is in the right position, pointing the direction you intend to distribute this cut along this beam. I'll right click and come to spatial copy, then I'll come to linear here, and I want to distribute it along the X axis, this direction, and also I'll distribute it along the opposite direction of the X axis. Now to do that, on the direction of the X axis, I want an interval of 300 millimeter. I'll type 300 millimeter, and how many do I want? I want close to 10. Let me just type 10, then just go ahead and click copy. Perfect. Our beam has now been converted to a castellated beam. We can do the same thing. We can distribute this to the opposite direction by coming again here and selecting that cut, then right click and come to spatial copy again and click linear. Then on the same dimension, we want to go the opposite direction. What we'll do here, we'll just add a negative sign, but the number of copies of this cut will just remain the same, and we'll just go ahead and invoke the copy button. We'll just press that copy button right there. There we are. It has been converted to a castellated beam. Now this one, now to get rid of this active cut signs, we'll right click here and we'll click on empty screen, and we'll click on empty screen by clicking the left button on your mouse, then come and right click on the same empty screen, then come to redraw view. We want to redraw or refresh this view. Redraw means refresh in Tekla Structures. Yes, redraw means a refresh in Tekla Structures. You can refresh any view by just right clicking, or if any command was active, you first of all have to deactivate that command by right click, then click interrupt, then click on empty screen if there was any selection made to deactivate that selection, then come and right click on empty screen once again, then this dialog box will come, or these options will come, where you will be able to pick on redraw the view. Now we've done our refresh, and this is how to create that. And this one you can now use, you can convert it to, you can copy it to any place, and it will retain the customized shape, or I mean it will retain its customized shape, this one. And that's exactly what I did for all this, and this part also for the rafters I did the same thing. I did all those. So on top here we'll place a slab of 150 millimeter thick. This is a storage building. You can see here you access the top floor, the mezzanine floor, through this staircase, and another staircase on this end. Another staircase on this end. You can press Control and press your middle button on the mouse and rotate this to any direction of your choice. You can zoom that. All these greetings were just made, and you can see that when I press Alt on the keyboard and pick on any member, you'll see everything getting selected or getting highlighted as a whole staircase. Perfect. Now I can just go ahead and click on empty screen right there, just to remove that selection. Now we want to go straight on creating elevations from grid lines. Let me take this view by pressing Control and middle button on my mouse. Just bring it close on this side. I want to bring this point closer to me. Now we want to create, I want to create an elevation from grid line 9. This elevation, the elevation pointing at us. Now to do that is quite simple. Once you have created your elevations right from the grid here, by right clicking and coming to create view, here you can create your grid line, your grids. But I will not go further and create other ones because I've created several of them that I was using, which I was using to create all these. I can bring this closer and you'll be able to see how this was created. These are gutter, water pouring from this direction, and the flow is confined to one direction. Now to show you the views, I'll come to view here, then I'll come to view list here. Now from here you'll be able to see the views I selected. I picked on grid 1, I picked on grid 2, grid 3, 8, 9 and grid 8. Now I want to create an elevation at grid 1. You just pick on the grid. Once you've picked on the grid, this is what you'll see. This is what we have now, grid 9. This is the grid 9. You can see it here, view 7, grid 9. And also all the views you've selected are accessible through this drop down arrow under window. Now if I click on that drop down arrow under window, you'll be able to see the view 7 under grid 9 is active, has been picked as an active grid. Now once this has been selected, come to drawings and report here, and come to create drawings. Under create drawings, you click on general arrangement drawing or GA drawings. Click on the GA drawings. So the moment you click on the GA drawings, you'll be provided with all grid lines. So it is upon you to pick on which grid line you intend or you want to create an elevation from. Now our main objective was to create an elevation from grid line 9. So the moment you've picked on that, you'll go straight away and click generate and wait for the drawing to be generated. Then from that spot, from that point on, once it has been generated, just go ahead and click close. You close this, then follow up your drawing from the drawing list here. Click on the drawing list, then this window for the drawing list. All the drawings you've generated will be listed here depending on the date, time and the type of drawing. It will be shown to you whether it is a general arrangement or whether it is a assembly. The type is here. All these are GGG, which means general arrangement of drawings. Now for our grid 9, this one here, I'll just double click on it and it will open up, and you will be able to see the drawing itself. Let's wait for it to open. It's slightly bigger, that's why it's taking time to load, and we'll just give it time to open up. Then the moment the opening of the drawing has been finished, what will you'll do now, just minimize this. You just minimize this, and this is what will confront you, or will be presented to you as an elevation from Gridline. This one here. And these write-ups or labeling, it's easy to do. You just double click on that Grid9 text, just double click on it. So the moment you double click on it, this view dialog box will come up. Then we want to change the text. We want to change this text. To change this text, you just go straight away to label, go to label, and the coloring, the line color, the text color, you can change from here. Just click on this and click the appropriate color of your preference. And also we can change this symbol, though here if you see if you zoom closer, you'll see it's very small, and we can change this size. We can pick on the size of that symbol and change it to maybe 6. We'll just go ahead and click modify and see how it changes. There it is, and we can change it further. We can make this to be 12. We can make it to be 12. Change it to 12. Perfect. And now we want to change the text, the size of the text, and the font type. Now to change that, we'll come to A1 here and under mark, then click on this radio button here, click on that. Then under this, mark content dialog box. By default, you'll see some options here like view name. We just click on that view name and take it and click remove and bring text and add text here. Like I can take this back, I can take that, I can remove that, then I can bring view name here. The same thing, I can remove view name, but I want to take back my text. I can then I can pick on text, then add text here. It has changed, but we want to feed the same writing here. Now I'll come here and type Gridline. I can type I'll type Gridline here, Gridline 9 space, then put into bracket, then space elevation. There's a spelling error there, then add space there, then close it with a bracket. Now we'll go ahead and click OK. Pick on the elevation, highlight on it, then click modify. You see the text has changed to green because we've not changed here, and the font also we've not changed. We want to change this font size to Roman D, the way it was before. Now to change the text, just click on this button, then come here and type any font type of your choice. I prefer this Roman D type of font. Then I'll go ahead and click OK. Then I want to change the color of this text. I want to give it black when printed on a paper, but on the screen it will appear white. Now I'll give it black. I'll change this to 5. then I'll give it an OK. Remember, the grid elevation, to maintain this, pick only one option, pick on the text and add it here. The view name just remove and substitute it with the text. Then when the moment you click on text, that text typing box will appear there. Just put in your text. Then I'll go ahead and click modify, and this is what will come up. I'll click apply and accept, and I'll do the same thing here, apply and accept, and this is what I'll be having. This is what I'll be having. And also you can do, or you can place your dimensions here wherever you think it needs some dimensioning. I can go further and start placing some dimensions here. Click on that, then snap on that spot, then come here and snap on this spot, then come to initial spot and snap right there, and snap right there. The reason why it has not picked, because my picking points were not accurate. I want to pick on this spot. Pick on that spot, come all the way and pick on that, then come on that spot and pick on that. It's not accurate, we'll pick on another position. We'll pick on another position, but for now that is enough for today, and we will wind up on this at that point, and we'll meet on another tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and also this model is downloadable under CivilMax. You can download that. Bye bye, and let's meet then.